All right. I don't have a cameraman, so I'm just gonna be doing this solo. So if this is a little fucked up, my apologies. Here we go. Deck tech time. Start off 3 Naoya. This is a core to the combo. It's a 1.5 card combo. Basically, it'll send any light reptile to the graveyard from your deck by sending it from your hand. And you send the level 8 light Ogdoadic that lets you tribute a monster on the field, so you need another monster that you can normal summon or set. Any hand trap works for this, or there are ways to get extra bodies through the combo. And when this card is normal or specialed, it gets to search an Ogdoadic spell or trap. This is the counterpart to it. This is the level 4 light. It can go from hand to grave to send a dark reptile. You use that to send this guy, Zoha. We only play one of him. He's a dark. He says you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to add him from the graveyard to your hand. And Nunu says if you control no monsters or an Ogdoadic monster, you can special summon it from the graveyard. And then it reptile locks you while it's on the field. So you basically use these two to get a rank 4. You get King of Feral Imps. King of Feral Imps will search Naya, the level 4 dark. That will send Curse. That'll get your combo going. This is the aforementioned Curse, the level 8 light. It can tribute a monster on the field to special summon itself from the graveyard. If it's special summoned this way, then your opponent gets to reborn a monster, but its effects are negated. This can be really beneficial. We'll see this, and I'll talk more about it later. But when it's summoned, when it's special summoned, regardless of if it's by its own condition or another way, we have a lot of ways of reborning monsters. It can reborn a level 4 or lower, but there are only level 4 Ogdoadic monster from the graveyard. So we will usually reborn Naoya, which will get one of our Ogdoadic spell traps and get the combo rolling. That's almost it for the Ogdoadics. There's also Nephalibis, which essentially can act as a combo extender. It's kind of a crazy card. Basically, if a card is foolish while it's in the graveyard, it can reborn itself. But if it does reborn itself this way, it will reptile lock you until the end of the next turn. And it can just once per turn reborn something from the graveyard. So you want to reborn this without using its own effect, and it can recycle like your end board pieces. It can continue your combos. It can just give you an extra piece on your end board itself. It just it doesn't always come up in the core combo, but it's very important for the sort of like resource recursion grind game. Like if you're able to reborn Curse off of this, then you don't have the downside of its special summoning condition. And then this can reborn something else, and then you have 2 bodies as fodder without using your normal summon that can go into other things. I don't play the other level 10. I'm not playing any like rank 10 plays. I think maybe in the future it'll be worth it, but at the moment not really. And then for just reptile extenders, we have Therion Empress Alasia, just a level 8 reptile that can special summon itself by equipping a monster in the graveyard. Night Sword Serpent is a reptile when sent to the graveyard, gets to special summon itself, but is banished when it leaves the field. Kodal is just a level 4 Dark Tuner that can special summon itself if you control a Dark Reptile. It's pretty easy for us to do. Lamia is kind of a weird card. It can only special summon itself if you only control reptiles, but it can set monsters' attack to 0 when it is special summoned or when it leaves the field as part of the synchro material. Use it to go into Hydra a lot of times and set a few things attack to 0 so that we can pop them. Hydra says destroy as many monsters your opponent controls with 0 attack as possible, and if you do, draw a card for each monster destroyed. So it's just sort of like a way that we can go into into some board breakers going second. It's also just a searchable level 2 tuner, which is pretty important with all the level 8 free bodies that we're able to generate. I don't have a Crimson Dragon, but Crimson Dragon might be also usable in a deck like this. So those are the reptile extenders. The heart and soul of the deck, Snake Rain, can get your whole combo going by, it's like Snake Rain is just full combo with another card to discard in hand, because you just send these 4 snakes. Night Sword specials itself, gets tributed for Curse. Curse reborns Nauya, which gets your Daybreak, and then Nunu summons itself. Nauya and Nunu can go into a King of Feral Imps, and you can just use this quick play to turn this into a bunch of tokens, and then you have 5 bodies on the field. You can really do a lot with that. Speaking of Daybreak, Daybreak is one of the Ogdoadic spells that we'll be playing. We're only playing 1, playing 2 copies of Water Lily and 1 copy of Serpent Strike. These are all searchable off of Nauya. They are not bad to open, but they don't really, they kind of act as extenders, more so than getting your combo started. Water Lily kind of can act as a starter because it foolishes a monster, and then if you have 5 or more reptiles with different names after the foolish, you can special summon. We'll use that, usually we want to use that to resummon like a link monster that we've used, or the Nephilibis, to resummon something else to keep the grind game going. Daybreak we're only playing 1 of, because basically when we use the Daybreak, we're going to expend the resources in our extra deck that it allows us to access, so it's not very useful in multiples, although you could play a deck that leans more into the sort of token generation ability, and maybe if there are more links in the future that care. There are really only like 3 reptile links in the game, and I'm playing all of them. So this is not that great in multiples, but it is a really important combo piece because it can tribute a reptile, and then for every 2 levels, it has make a level 2 token. So with this becomes 4 tokens, and it'll special summon another body. That's just 5 bodies very easily without using a normal summon. And then Serpent Strike is just kind of like, if we don't have anything else to search up, it can be a very powerful recursion engine. We can send a monster from our hand or field to the graveyard, then reborn a reptile with a different attribute. So we can like continually get whatever we draw, we can turn into a Zoha, for instance, and then Zoha can pitch itself to Serpent Strike to get back Curse, or one of our tuners. Actually, you can't get one of the tuners. That might be an oversight. But it can just continue to recycle your resources, and when a card is sent to your opponent's graveyard, it allows you to foolish a reptile yourself. So it can like just gain incremental advantages that way. I don't know if I really should be playing it. I'm just testing it at 1 at the moment. It probably won't really come up, and will get cut for like another Serenir. Speaking of which, let's get into the other engines that we're playing. Playing 3 Vision Resonators as a level 2 tuner package. The deck doesn't always need to rely on its normal summons, so sometimes you can just normal summon this and use one of the level 8 bodies to go into a level 10 synchro. That can be very powerful. It replaces itself, so when it's sent to the graveyard, it gets to search Crimson Gaia, and then Crimson Gaia can search up another Vision Resonator, either from the hand or the graveyard, so you can just keep on generating these free bodies. Crimson Gaia also has additional text on it, which is kind of crazy. Basically, if Red Dragon Archfiend Attacks, it Book of Eclipses your opponent's field. So that's just a board wipe. It also says if a monster on the field is destroyed, you can reborn an RDA from the graveyard. So it's just another recursive advantage engine that can help us break boards. And then we get into the Bystials, which is kind of the reason that we can afford to play the Vision Resonator package. Play 3 Lubellion, 1 Magnemite, 1 Saronir, 1 Druisworm. That is all the Bystials that I am playing. I would like to play another Saronir. I'd like to play a Baldrake, but there just ain't space. Speaking of ain't space, I'm just playing Regained. I'm not playing Beast. Yeah, that might be a mistake. This deck does kind of want to lean into the grindy aspect, but Beast is just such a brick drawing it. The deck doesn't play that many dragons. This is pretty much all of the dragons outside of a few in the extra deck. So I think just the advantage engine of Regained is really strong. The Bystials just set up a really powerful advantage loop where Lubellion lets you get Regained. A lot of the serpents, when you reborn them through effects, will banish themselves when they leave the graveyard, so you can recycle them for extra cards. When your opponent summons something, so either on their turn when they summon something, or if they choose to summon something off of the effect of Curses Reborn, you get to reborn a Bystial. So like any of the Bystials plus the level 4 that you're reborning off Curse is just a Chaos Angel. So your board states can start getting increasingly difficult for your opponent to solve as you just generate card advantage over time. And just like the cards are good. Magnemite replaces itself. Saronir is a searcher. Druisworm is recursive removal because you can keep on picking it up with Magnemite's effect or just reborning it with Regained. It's very meta dependent. The locals that I've played in has a lot of light dark decks from what I've seen, and basically in the meta the like top decks are all light dark decks, except for Fire King and Rescue Ace, which are probably the top deck. But yeah, I'm not really taking this to a high level tournament anytime soon, so I think this is pretty fine. To get into the last bits of the deck, Chaos Space lets you pitch a dark to search Lubellion. It's just another copy of Lubellion or Saronir. Chaos Dragon Levianeer is a dark target for Chaos Space, in case you already have access to Lubellion, or you only have a light to pitch off of Chaos Space. Levianeer can use the resources from your Reptile combo to special summon itself for an extra hand rip, for removal on a follow-up turn. You can search it off of Magnemite. It is kind of an awkward card, but it offers so much power, and it kind of just helps the deck's flexibility so much that I want to try running it for now. But it could be cut. I think if you cut the Levianeer, you also cut the Chaos Space. Planet Pollutant Virus is we play one of these. It's a key combo piece. Basically, we use 5 reptiles to make these two, this Link 3 and Link 2 reptile that say just reptile monsters. The big crab guy searches this trap, and then the trap tributes an alien to board wipe the opponent's board, and then places an A counter on every monster they summon for the next 3 turns. And the crab guy says monsters with A counters are changed to defense position and their effects cannot be activated. So that's nice. And for the last bits, the non-engine is just 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. There are a lot of like extenders and engine pieces in the main deck that you can cut post side for like Droll, Nibiru, board breakers, whatever you need. But I think just having the maximum consistency for going first, or for for just going blind into game one, because people probably don't know what the deck is doing, is pretty good. And if you're on the draw, you have an extra card, so you can kind of afford to cut the extra engine pieces. For the extra deck, we went over the reptile links. There are a few other links. Reptilian Echidna is another reptile link. This is more for going second, breaking boards. It lets you, on summon, turn a monster they control's attack to 0, and it can, if they have a monster whose attack is 0, it can search a reptile. Oftentimes you'll go into the level 2 tuner to make Lamia to blow up their board. It does reptile lock you to the extra deck for the rest of the turn, so it is kind of narrow in that sense, but I don't want to cut it. It comes up fairly often. IV Masquerade is just an end ward piece. You can make this with the tokens. It's pretty good. SP Little Knight is a card. Those are the links. Those 5 cards. And then for the synchros, for the level 8s, play Scarred and RDA. These cards just are powerhouse. They just break boards. They just Scarred replaces itself. These can go into like a rank 8 play. It just does so much for the deck, and they just come back for free off of Crimson Gaia. Bystial Dispotter. If you go into this through Scarred, you also get a board wipe of their field for their attack position monsters, and Dispotter is just the house. 35 are good stats for the cost. It can reborn one of the many light or dark things you banished, or that they have banished off the effects of the Bystials or whatever have you. It's a negate or a pop. It's pretty good. You can use it to recycle your own banished pieces that you banished off of. Like you can use it to recycle your tuners and such. So you can go into additional level 10 plays like Baron de Fleur or Chaos Angel if you're lacking the tuner, or honestly sometimes I'll just go into Chaos Angel with the level 2 tuner and the level 8 light monster just to have the light dark. If I can make the other 2 already, then just have all 3 of them be indestructible by battle and unaffected by monster effects. That's pretty much game usually. Hydra's the one level 6 that we play. It is kind of out of place. I think there's a version of the deck that doesn't play the level 2, doesn't play the Hydra, doesn't play Echidna, but I think I like leaning into the versatility that the deck offers rather than going all in on the Planet Pollutant line. So that's the synchros. Playing 2 King of Feral Imps. This could be 1. You only need 1 for the combo, but it comes up in the grind game. There's a lot of like one-of extenders in the deck that you might want to search on a subsequent turn for specific plays because the deck isn't incredibly linear. So I like playing the 2 King of Feral Imps. The 1 Zombie Vampire, it allows you to extend your plays, maybe get access to your tuners by milling vision. You get the Gaia, you get the vision. It essentially is just a little knight itself. So if you can like make this off of, say, Lubellion and Red Dragon Archfiend, like you're able to use Saronir and Vision to summon Scarred, tribute Scarred for Lubellion, get the RDA, go into Zombie Vampire. Zombie Vampire can bin something else. Lubellion will get regained, and then when the Zombie Vampire gets something else, if it's not something that can actually extend your plays, you can just turn the 2 of them into SP Little Knight, banish the Zombie Vampire from your graveyard, recycle it back into the extra deck, and draw an extra card with Branded Regained. It comes up a lot. There are some matchups where you don't really want to activate this. A lot of times people are just afraid of the Zombie Vampire. It's just a scary effect to let go off mill 4. You don't know what your opponent's doing. You see a bunch of snakes. Most people just use their Imperm here and it's not really a crucial part of the combo. So this is kind of like extra gravy or extra extension. So it's a good place to get impermed. And then just playing one Hope Harbinger. This is basically like if we don't need any help to execute the combo and we can get an extra rank 8 on board, Hope Harbinger is a nice way to protect the deck. It can negate a spell and it attaches it so they don't get any graveyard shenanigans with their spells. And because the links that we kind of end on can be a little weak between 19 and 26, they could just like go to battle phase to attack over this before we want to pop their board with pollutant, planet pollutant virus. So something like Hope Harbinger can help that by changing the attack targets. I would play Photon Lord in this slot or in this slot if I had one, but it is $70 and has never been reprinted, so I'm going to wait on the reprint for that. And the side deck is in progress, so that is the deck tech. 40 cards for now. I think I'm going to try to stick to 40 cards, especially since I'm not running an extra consistency package. Like I could be running the Sinful Spoils with the Volatiles. It's definitely not worth the cost. But yeah, well, that's the deck.